falling into a creative depression is literally the worst. Since the start of the pandemic, I've been super creatively drained and depressed. I have the dreaded folder of half-started ideas, a looming self-doubt of my own abilities, and a dash of I literally can't stop comparing myself to random people on Instagram. And I know I'm not alone because I've had so many conversations with friends and people I know that have been feeling similar with their own creative practice. But instead of continuing that indulgence of self-loathing and procrastination, I've made a plan to get out of this rut, and maybe it can help you too. So let's talk about why we get into these ruts in the first place. So I could go into a long-winded explanation as to why we get into these, but at the core, it's a simple one-word answer, and that's resistance. So resistance is that quiet, unseen force between you and the blank canvas. It's the voice in my head right now, doubting why I'm even making this video. It's that urge to scroll on TikTok when you get stuck on something you're creating, or that sudden essential need to wash all the dishes in your house when you have a deadline. Steven Pressfield explains it best in The War of Art, with a whole chapter on resistance and all of its forms. He writes, "Resistance is fueled by fear. Resistance has no strength of its own. We feed it with the power by our fear of it. Master that fear and we conquer resistance." Honestly, for me personally, once I start procrastinating, it almost gets me into a chaotic routine of stuckness where I'm sort of rushing to the end of the day, trying to get things done at like 12 a.m. and it just becomes super unsustainable, and then I feel like I'm only working on my work stuff and not my passion projects, and that's not the most fulfilling. So I feel like when I understood what resistance was, I was able to kind of understand what I need to do to actually get out of that cycle. So yes, we could sit around and wallow, and sometimes you actually need that time, so go off, do your thing. But I personally am over it, and that's why I created the Creative Flow Reset. So basically, for the next 30 days, I'm gonna challenge myself to work on a creative piece every single day for 30 days. And there's just two caveats that I sort of made for myself. First off, I won't be including freelance or like commission or paid work as part of the 1 hour, because like creating stuff is my job also. But I want it to be strictly based on personal projects for me. And the second thing is I won't be posting these works on social media for the 30 days. So first off, I want to rebuild that creative muscle. You don't work out 4 times in a month and then expect this crazy transformation. So in that same vein, I'm not trying to rely on moments of inspiration or ideas coming to me. I want to be in the habit and the practice of creating every day. Secondly, I want to create ideas for me versus Instagram or an algorithm. So if you don't know, I have an illustration series called Not Sorry, and it kind of centers around the South Asian diaspora experience, and I love making stuff for that. But I do in my head know that certain ideas will like resonate with more people or get more engagement or whatever. Like there's almost like a formula to it, and I know it works because I've seen people who've sort of borrowed a lot of ideas I've made and ran with it, and like that's That's awesome. But for me personally, I don't want to necessarily create for the purposes of Instagram. And I'd rather create work that, is a full expression of myself and um, explores concepts I want to explore. And I don't think, like getting that feedback from people and then posting and adjusting your ideas according to what does well is the best way for me to go about my work. So I just want to kind of create with that unbiased approach. And lastly, I want to become less precious with each piece of work I make. I feel like I often fall into that problem where I'm trying to make one thing like amazing, and then I feel like everything should be a masterpiece. But I think it's important to explore, experiment, and not get too caught up in being precious about your work. So I really want to work on that through this sort of reset. Yeah, so that's what I'll be doing for the next 30 days. I'll keep you guys updated and post a video at the end of it to see kind of what happened. It's kind of like an experiment because I did just make this up in my head on my own. So it's, totally science backed. But yeah, I made this video to be like publicly held accountable. So feel free to at me in 30 days if you don't hear back. And if anything, this video helps you feel less alone if you're in a creative rut. Like, not everyone is thriving during the pandemic creatively, and I think that's okay. But yeah, I hope you like this video, and I will see you when I see you.